and then we can show this piece of Agile or that piece of Agile or other thing. I mean, there's some folks that are trying to jump wholehearted into safe, and they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. You know, and that's almost as bad as them not doing it at all.
So are you suggesting giving them an alternative set of practices that solve their problems better?
No, I'm suggesting listening to their pain points, listening to their needs. To change the culture, we must listen to what their real concerns are.
So what do you do after you listen?
Then we find out how that maps to what we're doing, and we emphasize those.
So
that doesn't mean we don't do the other things, because a lot of what goes wrong is communications. You know, we showed them the chaos report, for instance. It's amazing how many IT managers have never read it.
So I would suggest that what you really need to do would be focus in. I agree that you need to figure out what that overall set of business goals are. I think you need to have storytelling that says, here's how we've been failing to deliver this effectively, and here's the new story that I want to tell where we want to instill a certain amount going forward.
So, I would suggest that you're talking about two different things. Goal setting and culture are not per se related, because you have actually two cultures. You have the national culture, which you cannot change, and then you have the organizational culture that you may be possible to change, but it's going to be improbable. And I think I know I inserted part of this because I wanted to share with the group that there are tools out there that will let you do an assessment, and that assessment before you go in, without getting into specifics, would relate to things like how does senior management relate with staff? Is it open, or does staff wait to hear what they think management wants to hear to tell it back to them? Because this is going to affect how easily you're going to be able to get teams to do things like self-organize. So if you have a culture where it's very hierarchical, that's going to be a challenge.
So we haven't even agreed on what culture is yet, man.
Right? Okay, well,
But I don't think we need to agree. Like, we all have the general idea of what culture is. Now, how it's implemented, how it affects us, and all of the different little components we don't agree on. But at this point in time, it's more about, I think it's, okay, we have this general definition that we all agree on little bits and pieces of it, and we can take that and expand on the challenges of moving to Agile, on the solutions of moving to Agile. Like, because I think defining culture is important, but at a certain extent, you're just walking in circles.
Yeah, we're all day.
Like, exactly. So if we can agree that there's an aspect of this definition that we can get behind.
Has anybody stated that?
Can we state that?
Yeah, I think.
Well, you said we kind of all agree on it and we can get behind it, so we should be able to state it.
But I think our cultures all come to us because of our backgrounds. I worked at Apple in the 80s, so my definition of culture is maybe different from other people in this room who grew up in a government style
But
environment.
that's a different kind of
But it's a different
culture.
It's a different
Definition of
culture.
culture is
I'm
mindset.
feeling a need to time box our definition of culture.
Yes.
No, I think we when I said this, that we all believe that it is really the demonstration of behaviors in the workplace, and which is driven by beliefs, and he said that it's really the feedback loop between these two. I saw a lot of heads
Do you guys agree with that?
So I
Yeah.
think yes.
I can go into that.
So behaviors driven by beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah. Which drives
So
behavior, beliefs.
and
which
values.
drive behavior.
And then it's not only driven, sometimes it's a feedback loop. It could be the other way around as well.
And your
So
organization.
you are forming the beliefs of people through the behavior that you
Well,
are
So now you're talking about, so I'm sorry I'm like being such a stickler on this, but now you're talking about culture change, right?
Yeah.
So if culture is
Right.
the beliefs, the behaviors that are driven by your beliefs,
Yes.
then you think about how do you change culture,
Yes.
then you got feedback.
Well, okay.
Yes.
One quick. I object to driven by. I will take culture. Culture is behaviors and beliefs.
It's chicken and egg. I agree with
Okay,
that.
okay. I would agree, and I think most of the people would want to move past this, mainly because I think this is the way we think. Some people want to define things in words, and that's how
So
it becomes.
I'm going to throw out one other quick little thing. That's a simplistic view of something like the model, the ladder of inference. Okay,
Yes.
if anybody's ever read on that. I don't want to get into explaining that. So values gets in there, what you observe, how you filter observations. Let's not get into that. That could be a very good, I could buy into that simplistic definition
Right.
of, behaviors and beliefs.
Right.
Good enough for now.
Yeah. So then moving past